I noticed the first oddity on a Tuesday morning. It was trivial, the kind of thing you don't normally write down, but for some reason, it stuck with me. I'd been brushing my teeth, staring into the mirror, when I realized I didn't remember buying the toothpaste I was using. I'm not the kind of person who forgets shopping at least not for small things. I shrugged it off and went to work. That day, my commute was ordinary. The streets quiet. The same faces on the subway. The same barista at the corner cafe. I ordered my usual black coffee, no sugar, and waited. That's when the first person smiled at me in a way that made my stomach tighten. "Good morning, Alex. Haven't seen you in a while," they said. I blinked. "Alex, my name's Daniel." I forced a laugh. "Daniel," I corrected, hoping they'd catch it as a joke. They didn't. They nodded politely and walked away. I told myself it was nothing. Maybe they confused me with someone else. That's what rational people do. The next few days were uneventful, except that I began noticing small inconsistencies in my own life. My apartment looked slightly different. I was sure I'd bought a new lamp, but it wasn't where I remembered putting it. A stack of books I didn't recognize appeared on the coffee table. I checked the receipts. Nothing. Then came the email. It was from my own work account, a reply to a thread I didn't remember starting. The subject was Project Update. February 3rd. I opened it, expecting a blank screen or a mistaken draft. Instead, I found a full report, written in my voice, detailing meetings I didn't recall attending. Names I'd never met were mentioned as if I'd spoken to them directly. My heart thumped. I called my assistant, Mara. "Mara, do you remember a project update I sent on February 3rd? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She paused. "Of course, you sent it to the team and upper management. Everyone approved it." I laughed nervously. "Right, but I don't. I mean, I don't remember writing it." There was a faint, almost imperceptible silence. "That's strange," she said finally. "You usually don't forget your updates, but maybe you were just busy." I tried to let it go. Busy people forget things all the time. But that night, I logged into my bank account and froze. Several transactions had gone through: rent, utilities, a few small purchases. Nothing unusual, except the signatures. The automatic payment receipts all had a signature that looked like mine but wasn't. Each loop, each curve of my name was slightly off. Not enough to notice at a glance, but enough to make me doubt. I began documenting everything: receipts, emails, calendar entries. Anything that did match my memory. Then, I found the photograph. I had always kept a small digital album of my travels. I opened it to review a trip I took to Italy last summer. But one photo caught my eye. A man in my apartment, at my desk, working on a laptop. He looked like me. Not exactly me, he had a slightly different posture. A sharper jaw, but the resemblance was undeniable. I hadn't taken the photo. I didn't recognize the man. Panic started to settle in. I went to my parents the next day, hoping someone could reassure me. "Look at this," I said, showing them the photo. "Do you remember this?" My mother frowned. "That's weird. Is that from your trip? You always send us your pictures." "It's not mine. I didn't take it." "Who is this?" My father leaned in, squinting. "Daniel, that looks exactly like you. Are you joking?" I shook my head. "I'm serious. It's not me. I don't remember this man ever being here. And these emails, these transactions, everything is off." They looked at each other uneasily. "Maybe you've been stressed, son. Maybe you're remembering wrong." I left their house with a growing sense of unease. It wasn't just my memory, it was reality bending. Something impossible had begun. Over the next week, inconsistencies multiplied. Friends greeted me as Alex. Co-workers referenced meetings I didn't attend, and social media showed photos of me in places I had never been. I checked public records for fun, thinking maybe it was a clerical error. Instead, I found Alex's birth certificate. Born 3 years before me. Same city, same parents. A perfect overlap, down to the street my family had lived on when I was born. I tried to report it. I went to the police, 2 government offices, to Social Security. Each time, the response was the same. Sir, you are mistaken. These records are official. Perhaps you need to rest. Rest. They looked at me as if I were the crazy one. I was rational, meticulous. I had evidence. But evidence wasn't enough. I realized I needed proof that could not be denied. I went to a local cafe I frequent, hoping someone would remember me. Daniel. The barista looked at me, confused. Alex, you're Daniel? Yes, I'm Daniel, I shouted, my voice trembling. I live here. I work nearby. Her brow furrowed. No, Alex has been coming here for years. Always the same table, same coffee. You're not him. I had no answer. The strangest thing was the lack of resistance from everyone else. No one seemed to notice the substitution. If Alex existed in my life, and everyone knew him as me, why didn't my friends or family react when I appeared as Daniel? Why didn't anyone notice? I went home and began reviewing my life in detail. Bills, phone records, medical appointments, emails. Each one had entries for Alex. He had been living my life, attending the same meetings, visiting the same stores, paying the same bills, even dating the same woman, Laura, whom I had been seeing for 6 months. I confronted her. Laura, do you remember me? She looked confused. Daniel, of course. I've been seeing Alex too. Wait, this is getting weird. You look just like him. I felt my stomach sink. She called him Alex, my own boyfriend, or rather, the version of me everyone else recognized. She didn't see me as Daniel. She saw him. I spent nights in a fog of fear and insomnia, tracing records, analyzing timelines. It was methodical and rational. I wasn't hallucinating. I wasn't dreaming. But the evidence against me was overwhelming. Every official record, every digital trace, every social interaction pointed to a person who wasn't me. Yet everyone treated as me. One evening, I tried to prove my identity at the DMV. I brought my birth certificate, passport, driver's license, everything official. The clerk scanned my documents, frowned, and handed them back. Everything's in order, sir, he said. You're Daniel K. Matthews. But Alex K. Matthews is registered here as well. You'll need to resolve the discrepancy with your lawyer. We can't change government records without legal confirmation. Lawyer, government confirmation. I felt the walls close in. I was trapped in my own life, legally and socially overwritten. I decided to observe Alex directly. I found him, my doppelganger, in a cafe, reading a newspaper. He looked up and smiled, waved casually as if he had always been part of my world. I wanted to scream, to demand an explanation, but my voice failed. He knew who I was. He had to. Or maybe he didn't, and that was worse. Over the next weeks, I followed him, cautiously, documenting everything. His mannerisms, his speech patterns, his interactions. They were subtle differences, not immediately noticeable, but unmistakable once observed closely. And yet, when anyone else interacted with him, they treated him as me, with complete familiarity. It became clear, Alex wasn't pretending. He wasn't malicious. He was living my life seamlessly, and the world accepted him as Daniel. Every record reinforced his existence. The bank, the DMV, friends, family, co-workers, all of them. I tried one last approach, showing up at my apartment with evidence. I had bills, photos, receipts, everything. Alex greeted me calmly. Daniel, he said, as if my presence was expected. I'm Daniel, I said, panic rising. You're living my life. People think you're me. He smiled, almost sadly. Daniel, maybe it's simpler if you accept that it's not about you. We exist in parallel now. You remember things differently. That's all. I recoiled. Parallel. That didn't make sense, but I had no proof, no authority, no way to force recognition. Every record, every witness, every system said he was me, and Daniel was invisible. I stopped leaving my apartment for a week. I avoided email, phone calls, everything. I lived quietly, documenting in secret. When I did venture out, the city treated Alex as me. People smiled at him. They spoke my name to him. I was a ghost in my own life. One morning, I went to my mailbox and found a letter addressed to Alex. Curious, I opened it. It was a simple note from my landlord. Rent is due. The apartment is yours. As always, don't forget to water the plants. I stared at it, shaking. The handwriting looked familiar, almost identical to mine. I realized something chilling. Every system, every person, every trace I'd ever left in the world had been not by malice, not by technology, not by chance, but by time and circumstance that no one would ever notice but me. I returned the letter to the mailbox. The plants needed watering, and I was still here. I existed, rational, aware, and entirely powerless. I live now in quiet observation. I see the man who is me, or rather, the man the world recognizes as me, move through life, carrying my name, my relationships, my history. People treat him with familiarity, affection, trust. I am outside of it, a witness to a life that should be mine. Sometimes, I catch my reflection in a window. Walking past him, I see the same face, same eyes, same faint scar on my left hand. But it is only a reflection. I cannot touch my life. I cannot correct it, and I am left with a single, unshakable truth. The world does not need me. The world knows Alex. The world believes Alex. And I, Daniel, am already gone. I don't speak of it anymore. I don't try to prove it. I simply exist, quietly, alongside the person I was supposed to be, watching, documenting, slowly realizing that my life has become a ghost story, written not in blood or screams, but in the subtle, irrefutable erasure of identity. And every day, I wake up, brush my teeth with toothpaste I didn't buy, and wonder if the world will ever notice that I'm still here. The reflection in the mirror is the last piece of evidence I have left, and even that might belong to him.